What the was that, Jay? How did that happen?
Yeah, it was dreadful, wasn't it? It was. We've just finished the watch along. We were saying I can't remember a worse final performance from Liverpool in my lifetime.
I'm going back to 1996 against Man United. Dreadful.
Yeah.
The second half of the Sevilla European Europa League final. And then other than that, there's people saying about we were in around for 88 against Wimbledon.
No.
But that was as bad as it gets.
Yeah. Yeah, it was. It's tough to take. I'm just thinking about the contrasting emotions of this time last year. We had that side that was hamstrung by injuries. You had young lads. You had Dans coming on. You had McConnell coming on. The pride I had in that team, and it's only the League Cup, but that was one of my best nights supporting Liverpool. I just was so full of pride of that team last year, and then in comparison to this, all right, we had an injury at right back, but other than that, we've got the lads that have propelled us to top of the league by a comfortable margin. Slot's got a tune out of all of them all season. We've praised him so much, but none of them turned up, and I think we have to be a bit critical of the manager as well. I don't think the team he picked, Newcastle were good at stopping passing lanes and getting men behind the ball and things like that, and then we started going long. I didn't think the team that we picked were right for that, but it seemed fairly obvious to me that was going to be something that they try and do, because they're a good team at spoiling, they're a good team at stopping the opposition doing what they want to do.
On that, Jay, let's talk about that then, because the manager, I think 3 times this week, you could probably say he's got his team wrong.
Yeah.
He probably did, you say that against Southampton, but there was talk maybe he should have rested and rotated a little bit, but the first half it didn't go well, and then he had to, Liverpool did come out second half a little bit brighter, and obviously won that game. PSG now today. Yeah, it's really difficult. Like I say, he admits himself, he after PSG, it's the biggest game he's ever been in, or best quality game and that kind of stuff. And he kind of said, maybe not for Liverpool, but for me it is. He's been fantastic. Listen, he's almost certainly going to be Premier League champion. Liverpool are 12 points clear top of the league. Even the most pessimistic, and I know there's some on social media, you'd like to think Liverpool can get 16 points from 9 games, and obviously maybe even less if you think Arsenal aren't going to win every game, which I doubt they will, because they don't look up to much either, and they've very much got their eyes on Europe. But yeah, there's a bit of a break now. I wonder if he looks back at this week and goes, yeah, I got that one wrong, because today Liverpool's team to Liverpool's tactics made no sense. Liverpool were a long ball team with our 3 shortest attackers on. Liverpool's shortest player is marking the biggest player, or one of the biggest players I've ever seen in Dan Burn off corners. Someone's made that decision. It just felt like tactically, team selection, and it's fair to say Arne Slot he just got it wrong today, and the players didn't perform, but even he would have to admit when he looks in the mirror, that was on me a little bit as well.
Yeah, there was just so much of it that didn't make any sense.
That's it. Like that, you've took the words right out of my mouth. It made no sense. Yeah. You picked that team, and then that was the tactic. So either he's picked the wrong team, or he hasn't conveyed his message to the players. To do the right thing, and granted, start the second half, he keeps the same team on, and they look like they're playing a little bit, and then they get done by the goal, and it is what it is. But something's gone wrong there. Either his communication's wrong, or his team wrong, or his tactics are wrong. Either way, he will be looking inwards tonight.
Yeah, I think so, and it's you've got to use it. He's got to use it as a learning experience, because when going into that Southampton game, he was saying we've got 3 finals now, and he's trying to G the players up because he doesn't want them to be complacent against Southampton. Guess what? We weren't very good in that first half. So we played 6 halves of football plus injury time, and we were good in the second half against Southampton. Got the job done. Good at the first 10 minutes of PSG and the second half there. We weren't good in either half today.
By the way, extra time,
we were poor in the extra time. So that's the majority of those 3 games which he's had down as finals that he's been bigging up. We haven't been very good at. People are going to start questioning the team selection in terms of tiredness and rotation and things like that. I don't think he'll use an excuse, because he's been saying all year, my players are trained to play 3 games in a week and all this. maybe that's something he will look at going forward, thinking, do I have to be so wedded to this group of players? Partly it's by virtue of the fact that it's the team he's inherited. We don't know what's going to happen in the summer. Maybe some that he doesn't trust are going to be going out and he's going to be bringing his guys in. But I think I'd be pretty critical of Slot today, but I think he will use this as an opportunity to learn and learn what he is as a manager. And, you know, because it's been nothing but praise pretty much all year.
And this was his first season, a transition season, all that kind of stuff. The fact is Liverpool are probably going to win the Premier League, which is magnificent, and we're all going to have a wonderful time with it. But he's still learning about us, we're still learning about him. I don't think it reflects brilliantly on him as well, Jay, when the two lads who he's been very, 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 very reticent to use in Elliott and Chiesa come on and look that good. Like, they're the only two from an attacking sense. Maybe a little bit Curtis Jones to an extent, he has a good shot save, but like, and again, it might just be tiredness to Newcastle, and I'm maybe doing too much for Elliott and Chiesa, but they ran, they fought, they had a couple of moments of quality. Chiesa scores a very good goal. It almost does Arne Slot a disservice that they played well. Because if they come on and stink the gaff out as well, then you're thinking, well, there's not much you could have done there because everyone was crap and they're all off it. But actually, the two lads who he hasn't really give a kick to for a long time, come on and play like that. It almost reflects a little bit badly on him that he hasn't trusted them more.
Yeah, he's been a bit like that with Endo as well. All the noises were in the summer. He wants a better ball player in there. That's why Gravenberg's gone there. Then Endo started coming in. Feel like he does trust him a little bit more now. But Chiesa, I mean, it's been a mysterious situation all year. But then he comes on there. He did look bright, all right, admittedly, in fits and starts. But then, there was a bit where he beat a couple of guys down the left wing, wins a free kick. He takes his goal well. In comparison to Gakpo, who was the main man a couple of weeks ago, he's had this really unfortunately timed injury. Gakpo comes on and, again, same as the other day, he looks off it. He's giving fouls away. His touch is poor. He's doing that thing where he beats a man and crosses it in, and then they're all going straight to Nick Pope, or they're too long or whatever. So it's weird, yeah, because you think, what's he seeing? What's he seeing in training? You feel like Chiesa's a professional. It's not like Chiesa. You wouldn't think Chiesa's turning up and phoning it in training. So it has been a bit weird. Elliott was one of our best players, I think, last year. He's hardly used him. It was a bit unfortunate for him. He comes in the Plymouth game and it's another poor performance. Scores the goal against PSG. We've seen a little bit more of him. But that's sort. I mean, people have been moaning about squad depth and stuff like that. You think, well, of the players that are there, can Elliott not play a little bit more? We trust him in a red shirt. Can Chiesa not play a little bit more? We haven't been calling for it because we haven't seen him. But I think now maybe that we've only got the however many 9 games to go is it left or whatever. Maybe they will get a few more minutes. But yeah, it's been a bad week, and it's been, I guess Liverpool haven't really performed at their best for maybe a few weeks. They've got results and things like that, but yeah, it's certainly a disappointing week in what has been so far such a great year for Liverpool.
Absolutely. Like I say, I think if you ask Arne Slot himself, he'll probably be thinking, again, really, didn't quite get that one right. Again, I'll go back to it. If your tactics are long ball towards Dan Burn and Fabian Schär, first of all, change your tactics. Second of all, you don't put Diogo Jota up front. If your tactics are, well, they're going to try and defend off corners, it can't be Alexis McAllister, because that makes sense if he's trying to block runs, Jay. He didn't have to block the run because Dan Burn doesn't have to run. So teams often will put the little fella on the big guy, and then his job is to stop him attacking that area. The second Dan Burn was hanging back, which he did 3 or 4 times, I would like, whether it comes from the manager or from the team on the pitch, that has to change. Go and stick Kwanzaa on him, or go and stick maybe Gravenberch, who's a bit taller, Szoboszlai. Again, I go back to it, I said on the watch along, if they want Konate and Van Dijk in their zone, I understand that, because every time I went near them they headed it. But if they're not going to put their best giant of a fella on the zone, I would like our manager or somebody on the coaching staff, and maybe even the players, to figure out there's no point having Alexis blocking the run because the guy's not running. And before you know it, we're 1-0 down off a set piece because the guy who's a giant of a fella is able to nod it in. He was magnificent, Dan Burn, credit to him. But like, again, even that, I would question the tactics on that.
Going back to things not making sense, we called it out the first corner. We went, so McAllister on, and then 2 or 3, and then he starts winning them in the air. He wins a flick on in the first half, and that, heads it down, someone flicks it on, goes straight into Keller's arms. Another day that could get deflected in. And then even, it was a bit of a kiss of death from me, because I said, if we carry on giving Newcastle these, you don't want to be giving Newcastle these, and then they go and score from it.
Wasn't a kiss of death, mate. It was just obvious by watching the game of footy. That was going to happen. It was like, they're going to score. If we don't change something here, they are going to score a goal.
And we're just 2 knobheads, aren't we? And we're we can see it, and you think, I remember that we lost to West Ham a few years ago, and they kept putting people round the keeper, and I was thinking, like, can Virgil not sort that out, or something, and whatever.
Brentford's away when they just kept scoring off the same corner. Like, can someone just do something about this? But
I don't know why. I don't see that necessarily as Virgil or Canate's responsibility, because they're doing what they've been told to do. Everybody's doing what they've been told to do.
McAllister's, mate, he's told, slow Dan Burns run. Yeah. If Dan Burns doesn't run, Alexis McAllister's tiny. He's got no chance.
The corner, if you're whipping a corner in, I get the logic of it. But they were just kind of floating them in. I remember Bolton used to do that years ago under Sam Allardyce. They wouldn't try and really whip a ball, and they just get it in the mixer, as the saying goes. And they're just finding him time and time again. And McAllister's powerless to do anything about it. I mean, it's a great header for the goal, but you just thought sooner or later something was coming. We just never looked. We never got anything going. We had a brief. I mean, we came out all right for the second half, 3 or 4 minutes. Then they go and they have a disallowed goal. They score the second. We had a very brief spell of maybe 5 minutes after their second goal when I thought, here we go. We can get a goal here. The whole complexion of the game changes. But I was going to say they rode it out. They didn't really have anything to ride out. Pope had made a decent save. And other than that, I mean, it gets a little bit frantic, although I thought they were brilliant after the Chiesa goal in terms of seeing the game out.
Yeah, it was disappointing. Like I say, again, I go back to Arne Slot to be thinking, that was, and unfortunately, again, he will learn lessons in his first season. It was meant to be a fact-finding season. Again, I go back, he's probably going to win the Premier League title. I'd be shocked if he doesn't in his first season. But I think he'll have learned a lot about his players, himself, a little bit, maybe who he shouldn't trust more. I just think it was a bad day for the manager.